What's up, y'all? So this is updates with the roofers in Allstate. So as the other day, y'all see, I had did a video where I had the roofer come out, and we talked about what needed to be done, and I told y'all that he wanted to take care of the roof or whatever on the main house first, and then he wanted to, after that, take care of the roof outside or whatever. And he wanted me to sign a contract, but I didn't want to sign a contract first until I had a couple of other people come out and look at the house. So this morning I had a roofer come out, and he looked at the house or whatever, and he was asking me, he said, what happened to that garage? Soon as the phone rung, y'all, when he got on the phone, he didn't even say hello. This was our first time meeting each other. I called. I said, I missed the call. They said, hold on. Let me transfer you. What's your name? I said, my name is Makar. Okay, let me transfer you. Let me find out who you spoke with. They transferred the call. All I know, the phone picked up. What happened to that garage? That man asked me what happened to that garage. He was like, it looked like a tree fell on it or something. I was like, well, that's what I was told. And he was like, and your insurance company ain't going to help you pay for nothing? Thank you. And your insurance company ain't going to help you pay for nothing? He was like, it's a lot of hell. Ain't they not going to help you pay for nothing? I was like, well, no, they just said that they were going to pay for the main dwelling. He said, well, I got on top of the roof of the main dwelling, and he said, and y'all, I remember I had did a couple of videos where I was hearing stuff, and it sounded like people was walking on top of I thought people was in the attic living or something. I didn't know what was going on. And he said, well, there's a raccoon or something that's scratching at the top that's tearing up trying to get in the attic or whatever. And I said, so you don't think no human out to get me, do you? He started laughing. He said, no. He said, unless he got real long nails. He said, no. He said, that's a raccoon that's up there. He after something, and he keeps going to this same spot, and he keeps on trying to dig and plow and get up in here or whatever. So we talked some prices or whatever, but I didn't really feel connected to him as I did the guy that I showed y'all that was on top of the roof. The guy that was on the top of the roof, we were more in tune, because the guy that I spoke with today, he doesn't offer any type of payment plans, and he doesn't deal with gutters. So he told me, like, I'll repair the roofs, I'll repair both roofs, but I don't mess with gutters. Why? I don't know. He said, I don't deal with gutters at all. He said, now I will put them back and place them how they were, but then in addition to that, you would have to call someone else that deals with gutters, he said, and have both of the gutters replaced on the house. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, you're looking at about $800 or $900 a piece to replace both of those gutters. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if you ain't replacing gutters and you fix the roof, then I'm not going to deal with you. And then he offered me a way cheaper price than what the first guy came out for. And I'm like, that can't be right. I said, well, that's not to fix the whole garage then. He was like, no, that's just to fix the side where I showed y'all where the hose was and it's damaged. I said, but on the other side, it's big holes over there too. So he didn't say about, working all the way around to cover up the holes or whatever. He just was like, to take care of that side that's caved in or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to go with the other guy. So I'm going to call the other guy back or whatever, and I'm going to get the roof fixed, because Father is so good. He had already told me I was going to get the roof fixed or whatever. But it's only through the grace of God and his mercy, and it's only through my bank that I'm getting the roofs fixed. It doesn't have anything to do with Allstate other than them taking care of my main insurance. So I reached out to her today. Remember, I dropped the paperwork off or whatever, and I did the video about me having lunch and dropping the paperwork off. Well, she said that everything has basically come through, but she's working on getting one more piece before she can finalize everything. She was like, that way it'll give you enough wiggle room to get the roofs fixed. She was like, and then I talked about the carpet, and she was like, well, I'm not really going to be able to do anything about the carpet or whatever. She was like, for the most part, it sounds like you're going to be paying out of pocket or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine or whatever. She's like, I'm just trying to help and give you a little wiggle room. You know, you want to stay there. You know, if you wanted to move, I could have moved you and put you in a brand new house, but you don't want that. You want to stay there. And I said, this is my home. I want to stay in my home. I said, but the problem that I have is that the house is not livable. You know, I was under the impression that, you know, I was going to come in and file my claims and they was going to come to the rescue and they were going to take care of everything, which they didn't. And then I went to tell her how I was denied for everything, but then the next day he called and said that they called back and said that they were going to pay for the main roof on the house. And she said, well, if they called back and told you that they were going to pay for the main roof on the house, that tells me that there was an error that was written to begin with, or somebody in there playing around doing something they shouldn't supposed to be doing, and they trying to cover themselves. And I said, that's exactly what it was. And so she said, well, did you ask them about the carpet? I said, I asked them about the carpet. I asked them about the garage. They said since it was an ongoing problem due to deterioration, they wasn't going to pay for that. This stuff was going on before I moved in the house, and the owners that previously owned the house should have took care of this problem, and they chose not to. But I don't know who their insurance company was. Maybe they wouldn't take care of it neither. I don't know what happened. But all I know is that my goal is to have this garage fixed and this roof fixed by summertime. And then after I do that, I still have to go in and have them take the inside of all the rotten wood and stuff out of there, and take all the insulation of the rotten stuff out of there, and get a restoration team. It's just going to be a big, big mess. But I told the lady, I said, I'm just trying to get the house livable. The house really is not livable. And she said, yeah, no, I understand. And that's what I told your loan officer when I talked to her and I sent pictures over or whatever that you sent me. And we both agree, like, the house is not livable. We both agree that Allstate should have been doing something more than what they doing, and they're in there doing something. And she said, now this is up to you. She said, but I'm telling you what I would do. She said, after you get the roof fixed or whatever you can get out of them or get fixed, she said, if I was you, I would find me another insurance company. I said, I am. Even the roofers come out, they can't understand why ain't nobody backing me, why ain't nobody covering nothing. Would it be in a situation that these are godly type of things that's happening, you know, things, Mother Nature things, you know, that how am I reliable to fix this? Or the people that was living here or whatever, they had insurance or whatever. Why am I being held responsible, or why couldn't they get it fixed? And you know, too, this is another thing. The people that had the house before me, I guess they didn't want to be bothered with it, because, you know, most of the houses, when I was out house shopping looking for houses, right, most of the people that were trying to sell their houses, when I went to go see the houses, they were still living in the houses. They were still there. They had the houses set up nice or whatever, and it looked like an Airbnb, and it looked like a suite or something where I could walk through and see what was going on. But they still lived there. When I came to see this house, them people had already packed the fuck up and moved on and bought another house on some street called Candy Lane. I didn't even know we had no damn street called Candy Lane in Decatur. So I'm going to get everything fixed, but for the most part, most of the things are going to be coming out of my pocket. But thanks to my bank, if it wasn't for my bank, I'd be fucked up right now. So once I get everything straightened out, Allstate can get ready to kiss without twist. Mwah.